Good morning, girls. Myself, Dr. Sarita, and today we are going to do the poem The World is Too Much with Us by William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth is one of the greatest English poets of all time. He was born in Cockermouth, Cumberland. He was educated at Hawkshead among mountains and at St. John's College, Cambridge. He spent the year 1791 to 1792 in France, and at that time he was an ardent admirer of the French Revolution. But later on, he was disillusioned with it. In the year 1795, he moved with his sister Dorothy to Somerset, becoming a near neighbor of Coleridge. These two, Dorothy and Coleridge, had a tremendous influence on him. Along with Coleridge, he initiated a new epoch in English poetry. The joint volume of poems, Lyrical Ballads, was published in 1798, ushered in the Romantic movement in English poetry. In the same year, he started writing the Prelude, which was completed in 1805. Wrote lines composed about Tintern Abbey and Lucy poems. In 1802, he wrote the ode Imitations of Immortality, and in the year 1807 published poems in two volumes. In the year 1843, he was made the Poet Laureate. Wordsworth was a poet of nature and humanity. Several of his poems deal not only with the beauty of nature but also with the influence of nature on man. Nature to him was an unfailing source of joy and purest thought. Wordsworth was a champion of the poor and humble. He wrote several poems about simple people living in the countryside. He lived for many years in the Lake District of England. Many of his poems are about his experiences there. He wrote about simple people in the language really understood by men. The colloquial simplicity of his language is conducive to emotional intensity in his poetry. His poetry is not merely descriptive but interpretative and visionary. At his best, he is with the greatest, but he is very unequal and is best read in a selection of short lyrics. These poems illustrate his description of poetry as a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings and as emotion recollected in tranquility. In this poem, the sonnet entitled The World is Too Much with Us is one of the most well known sonnets of Wordsworth. This sonnet was written on 18th May 1806 at Bedford. The sonnet belongs to the earlier group inspired by the reading of Milton's works. It is one of the most characteristic products of Wordsworth, the poet and moralist. The thought of the sonnet may be stated thus: no religion can be vital that does not make nature full of noble meaning for us. It is to this sonnet that W.S. Landor refers when he says, yet in the best verses he ever wrote, reverts to the powerful influence of the pagan creed. The poet is pained to see the growing tendency of the people of his times towards wealth and wasteful pleasures. He feels sorry for the loss of appreciation of beauty of nature. The people are busy with earning money all the time. They devote all their energies to the collection of wealth and spending it on wasteful pleasures. People have exchanged their finer sensibilities for the accumulation of wealth in and out of season. They never look at the beautiful sight of the sea, with the moon shining with its silvery light. They also do not appreciate the calm and quiet aspects of nature. The poet is so much filled up with the ugly life of his times that he desires to break the shackles of materialism of his times. He desires to go back to the simple and unsophisticated days of the pagan time so that he may enjoy himself in the beautiful aspects of nature. He wishes to have visions of God, of nature, like Triton and Proteus. The poet is ready to embrace paganism of ancient Greece rather than continue to be a follower of Christianity. Paganism, I hope you know, at worshipping nature. He hopes to be able to enjoy himself in nature. This much for an overall explanation of the poem. Now let's move on to a line by line explanation of the poem. The beginning lines of the poem, "World is too much with us." The poet here was deeply pained to see that his contemporaries were losing their powers and time in earning money. They had great power of spiritual elevation and development of the soul, but they wasted all that power in amassing, collecting wealth, and spending it in wasteful pleasures. In earning money and spending it, and out of the season, they wasted all their power. They do not find time to appreciate the beauty of nature. They do not claim any kinship with nature. They have completely bartered their hearts and souls with the mercenary bargains. They had been without the inner feelings for nature and higher values of life. It was certainly a dull bargain in which his contemporaries were engaged. He says that the sight of the grand sea laying open in the glare of the moonlit night does not attract us. The winds that would be making horrible sound during the day are calm and quiet at night. But we have no time to appreciate their beauty. We have no sense of appreciation for such a great beauty of nature. We are always busy with the material pursuits of life. Nature's beauty does not move us, it does not inspire us. To get a better feel of the poem, let me read out the poem for you. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, sordid boon. This sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours, and are up gathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. It moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on the pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sights of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. In the concluding lines of the sonnet, "The world is too much with us," the poet was again deeply pained to note the growing indifference and apathy of his contemporaries to the great beauty of nature. They were badly busy with material pursuits of life. They wasted all their energies in accumulating wealth. And Wordsworth does not want to live in the society of such Christians who sacrifice their spirituality for the sake of material pleasures. He wants to run away from the materialistic tendencies of his times. He has a great zest for accepting paganism and to be nurtured in the extinct creed of paganism. In that creed, love for nature and worship of the gods and goddesses found in nature formed the principal part of religion. The poet hoped that as a pagan, he would have the opportunity of studying near the meadow and enjoy himself in nature. The sight would make him feel less lonely. He would enjoy himself in the beautiful scenes of nature. He would have the opportunity to see the sea god Proteus. He would also have the privilege of hearing the sound of the conch shell blown by Triton, who is an attendant on the sea god Neptune in Greek mythology. Proteus was the son of Oceanus and Tethys. He was a deity, sea god of ancient Greek mythology. He looked after the seas of the sea god Neptune. Triton is an attendant on the sea god Neptune who used to calm the waves by blowing upon his conch, which is shankh in Hindi. This much for today, and see you in the next video. Thank you.